Hi, welcome to yet another session of genetic disorders. We have been dealing with genetic disorders in the previous video also. We learned regarding the basics of genetic disorders. Today we will be learning about haemophilia as a genetic disorder, the disease haemophilia. So regarding the basics of genetic disorder, how it is caused, there is a reason behind genetic disorder, different types of genetic disorders and all were dealt with in the previous session. So it will be better if you can subscribe the channel so that you can go through those sessions. And also there will be more videos put on different genetic disorders. So once you subscribe the channel, you will be getting notifications when and how it is uploaded. So come back, haemophilia as a genetic disease. So in the last session we learned haemophilia is a sex-linked recessive disorder. I also explained to you why it is called as sex-linked and why it is called as a recessive disorder. So this portion, haemophilia as a sex-linked recessive disorder, was already dealt with in the previous session. In today's session, we will go into more details of what this haemophilia is. See, as it is stated, this is sex-linked disorder. Sex-linked means it is affecting the X chromosome. You know, human beings, they have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of 23 pairs, 22 pairs are autosomes and there is one pair of sex chromosome. If it is male, that one pair of sex chromosome is X and Y. If it is female, that one pair of sex chromosome is X and another X itself. So, haemophilia is related to a gene which is present on the X chromosome. So, it is called as sex-linked disease. Now, on the X chromosome, there is a gene which is responsible for producing a protein that is involved in blood clotting. You know, when there is a small cut or a wound on our skin, what happens? Blood comes out, that is bleeding happens, and after some time it stops and you can see there is a clot, and after a few days you can remove that clot out. It's called a scum that can be removed out. New skin will be there, things are cleared. So that blood clotting to occur, it's not a simple process actually. There is a series of proteins involved in this clotting of blood. One protein will be produced by one gene. Another protein will be produced by another gene. A third set of protein will be produced by a third gene. Likewise, there are many proteins produced from many different genes. So you say that there is a cascade. One after the other, this is getting produced. If any one among this gene is not able to produce the protein, blood will not clot. So if blood doesn't clot after a cut, imagine what will happen. It will be bleeding and non-stop bleeding. The person can even die out of that bleeding. This is the severity of this disease, haemophilia. I hope now you might have understood what is haemophilia. So in haemophilia, the gene responsible for producing a protein involved in blood clotting is not functional. Where is this gene present? It is present on the X chromosome. That is why the disease is called as sex-linked disease. Okay. So, this gene is not producing the protein for blood clotting. It is not produced. So, what happens? Non-stop bleeding. This is the disease haemophilia. Now, look at the next term. It is written as recessive disorder. What that recessive disorder is, and many examples for this were given in the previous videos. So, in this video, we will focus on haemophilia as a recessive disorder. I hope you might have understood haemophilia as a sex-linked disorder because it is affecting the X chromosome. Now, haemophilia as a recessive disorder. For that, look at this particular chart. Here, I have written two conditions, male and female. In the case of males, I have written a pair. A pair, don't read it as a pair, but here I mean it as autosome pair. Autosome pair means how many are there? Autosome pair means there are 22 pairs. 22 pairs of autosomes plus 1 pair of sex chromosome. 22 pairs of autosomes and 1 pair of sex chromosome. So that is the same case for females. So a pair means 22 pairs of autosomes and 1 pair of sex chromosome, it is X and X. So here we are concerned with sex-linked X chromosome. Okay. Now in the first case, in the case of males, a autosome pair XY, so male will be normal. Autosome pair XX, female is also normal. So first case I have written here where both male and female are normal. Now in order to show that abnormality, I can simply write it like if I put X and on the top of X if I put X like H, XH. When I am writing like this XH, the top of X I have written H. That means this X, in this X chromosome, the gene involved in the production of protein for blood clotting is not produced. That is the meaning of XH. That is haemophilic X chromosome, or haemophilic it is. Haemophilic means the protein for blood clotting is not produced. That is, this gene which is producing the protein is not functioning. So this XH, when I am writing here, it means it is affected, diseased. Okay, XH. So I have made here a few conditions. Condition number 1, where no XH is written, that means both male and female, they are normal. Condition 2, a pair of autosomes. So autosome pair is always normal. We need not look into that because this is sex-linked, not autosomal. So here in the case of male, I have taken one condition XHY. Here it was XY, normal. Here it is XHY. XHY means here in the male, the X chromosome is affected. It is haemophilic. It is not having the gene to produce the protein, or the gene is not functioning. It is not producing the protein. So XHY means the male is haemophilic, or it can be also written as the male is affected or the male is diseased. These words can be there in the question paper or in the answer sheets. Male is affected, male is diseased, male is haemophilic. Okay, so XY, XHY. Now here in the second case also, among the two X chromosomes, one chromosome is getting affected, XHX. XHX, be very careful here. One X chromosome is not producing the gene, or its gene is not having the gene which is involved in, which is producing the protein for blood clotting. That is, one X chromosome is affected. But look at the other X chromosome. This is normal. The other X chromosome is having the gene, and that gene is functional also. So the protein involved in blood clotting will be produced in this individual. Even though one X chromosome is not producing, the other X chromosome is there to compensate for it. That means the other X chromosome is normal, it is producing the protein, so the blood will naturally clot. Is it not? So is the person having the disease? No. If there is a cut or a wound, there will be bleeding, and after some time the wound will close. That means the blood will clot. Why? Because the other X chromosome is normal. This X chromosome can produce the gene, and that gene will produce the protein, and that protein will aid in the clotting of the blood. So the person is normal. But is the person totally normal? No, because one X chromosome is affected. So in this case we cannot write the term normal, we cannot write the term affected also. So what do? We write that individual is carrier. It is carrying the defective X chromosome. But it is not affected and it is not normal also. It is carrying the X chromosome having the defective gene. So in this case we use the word carrier. Second case, if among the two one X chromosome is affected, we use the term carrier. Now look at this case, children. Here one X chromosome is affected. What about the other one? The other one is not X. It is a Y chromosome. Isn't it? So the Y chromosome will not have this gene to produce the protein involved in blood clotting. So since males have only one X chromosome, if their one X chromosome, that X chromosome itself is affected, that means the males are diseased or they are hemophilic or they are affected. But in the case of females, since they have a pair of X chromosome, if one chromosome is affected, the other chromosome can compensate for the loss. That means the female is not diseased, but she is a carrier. I hope the difference is now clear to you. Carrier and diseased. Now when can the female become diseased then? Right. When both the X chromosomes are affected. None of these X chromosomes are able to produce protein which is involved in the clotting of blood. Then we say that the female is affected. Right? So that is the third case. A pair of autosomes XH, XH. That means both the X chromosomes are affected. Then we say the female is hemophilic or affected or diseased. So these are the conditions. I hope it is clear now. Now here comes the importance of this term, recessive disorder. In the last video I have told you recessive disorders means in such kind of disorder both the pairs of alleles or chromosomes should be affected. Only then the disease is recessive. So here also it is very evident. You can see here XH, XH. Only if both are affected, the disease occurs. Here there is no need for both because only one is there, it is diseased. Here since two are there, both of them should be affected. Only then you will get the disease. That is why it is recessive disorder. Okay. And why it is sex-linked? Because this gene is present in the X chromosome. I think now this part is clear. Hemophilia is sex-linked recessive disorder. Those terms are now clear to you. Now, let us see for the board exam what kind of questions can be asked. If it is a direct question like this, name a sex-linked recessive disorder, you can name it as hemophilia. Why it is called as sex-linked? You can say because it is concerned with the gene present in the X chromosome. Why it is recessive? Because only if both are affected or both the alleles are affected or both the chromosomes are affected, the person will get the disease. All these things you can say it directly. But in the examination, question can be asked like, if a female is a carrier and male is normal, will their children be a carrier or a normal individual? If they are having daughter, will they be a carrier? If they are having son, will they be affected? Likewise, questions can be asked. So, in that case, what to do? You should read the question carefully. If it is written, the female is affected and the male is normal, you will take this case. Female is affected means both XH, XH. Male is normal, simply XY. Then you prepare the cross. Second case, if it is written, female is carrier, male is normal. Or female is carrier, male is affected. Likewise, among these combinations that I have given you, any kind of question can be asked. If female is carrier, male is normal, what will happen? If female is normal, male is affected, what will happen? Like that questions can be asked. So just keep it in your mind. Males can be only of two categories. One is affected, one is normal. Females can be of three categories: normal, carrier, affected. And accordingly, you look into the question, frame like this and try to put up the crosses so that you can get this daughter, son and how they are. Let us do some examples and understand that in detail. Okay. So one by one, let us take. In the first case, if it is normal male and normal female, no doubt progenies, whether it is males or females, son or daughter, progenies will be normal. So we need not take this case into account. The second case, suppose we are taking haemophilic male and carrier female. Let us see what will happen. Haemophilic male and carrier female. Haemophilic male. Male is haemophilic. Female is carrier. Okay. So, autosome pair you can write, no doubt. Autosome pair. Here also I am writing autosome pair because it is not related to autosome, X chromosome, so we have to consider that only. Male is haemophilic. It is X-linked, sex-linked, so XH. It is male, so another sex chromosome will be Y. Now female, carrier, so only one X chromosome is having H, another one is normal. This is the condition. So from the question you can understand what the condition is. Accordingly you write like this: autosome pair and the related sex chromosomes. That is the first step you have to do. Now the question, how many will be, what will be, the males, females, whether they will be affected or not, carrier or not, like the question is. It's very simple. You can just write autosome pair, no? So next case is, they are forming the gametes, right? Gametes, what happens? I have already told you this in the previous videos. Just go through those playlists, children, so that it will be very familiar. You will understand it very easily. Okay, so when gametes are formed, what happens? The chromosome pair separate out into gametes. So autosome pair will separate into autosomes. Okay. So autosome pair have got separated. A pair have written as autosome plus XH. This is there in one gamete. The other gamete will also have autosome and Y. Autosome pair, from autosome pair I have separated into autosomes, and X and Y chromosome also got separated. Okay. Now second case, here also female also, autosome pair XH, one gamete, autosome X, another gamete. So autosome pair got separated into gametes. Now fusion of gametes. What happens here? I'm taking here first gamete, fusing with the female first gamete here. So autosome, two autosomes. So autosome pair I'm writing here. And this is XH and XH. See here, both XX. So what about this one? It's a female, isn't it? Both are HH. So the female is haemophilic or female is affected. Female is haemophilic, affected female. Now the second case, gamete, same gamete fusing with another female gamete here. Autosome pair XHX, right? So XHX, two X chromosomes. So again it is going to be a female and only one X chromosome is affected. So this female is a carrier. Female is a carrier. So you are getting two females. So if the child is going to be a daughter female, the female will be either hemophilic or carrier. So in this case, no normal female will be produced. No normal female. No normal female. Okay. Now take the other case. Now here this gamete is going to fuse with A. First this one AA. So A pair and YXH. So X and Y chromosomes are coming. So this individual is going to be a male, and since X chromosome is affected, this male is also affected. That means this male is hemophilic. Now another case here, AA pair and XY. XY, so again male. Whether this male is affected? No, because X chromosome is normal. So this male is going to be normal. So what does that mean? If it is going to be a male child, there are 50% chances of it to be affected and 50% chances of it to be normal. That is this thing. But if child is going to be a female, the child is either a carrier or hemophilic. So in the question paper, if the question is, what will happen, what kind of children are expected to be normal in the case when a female carrier is crossed with a hemophilic male. So in that case, only 50% chance of the female to be normal, and female there will be no normal female children produced. But children, always remember, this kind of cross, that is hemophilic male producing young ones, is very, very, very rare. Because hemophilic males will be non-viable. They will not be able to actually produce offsprings in 90% of cases. In 90% of cases. So this kind of thing, that is passing of producing young ones from hemophilic male, is not possible. Not completely, but to a certain extent it is not possible. Because they will not be viable in the later period of their life. Now, let us see the next condition. So first condition, female and hemophilic male. So this kind of cross is very rare. If at all this happens, what is the thing? Only 50% of the male progeny to be normal. Females will not be normal at all. Now, next condition. Again, carrier female I am taking with normal male. Normal male. So male is going to be normal here. That means there is no XH. But female is carrier. That means there will be at least one XH. Okay. So how can I write here? Male is normal. Male is going to be normal. So autosome pair, X chromosome and Y chromosome. So it is going to produce gametes as in the previous steps. So our autosome pair will separate into autosome and X chromosome, and again autosome and a Y chromosome. Okay. Similarly here also autosome and XH, autosome and another X. So these are the gametes. Pairs got separated into gametes, right? Now fusion of the gametes to produce the offsprings. Fusion of gametes. First I am taking this gamete fused with this one. So offspring will be autosome, autosome. So again autosome pair is restored. X, XH. So since both are X chromosome, right, first we understood it is a female. Now whether it is affected, carrier or unaffected, one H is there, so it is affected, but only one H is there, so it is carrier. So female carrier. Now second case is going to cross with another one. Here autosome pair and X chromosome plus again another X chromosome. It is female. Is it affected? Can you see any H over the X? No. So this female is going to be normal. So see here, in this kind of cross between carrier female and normal male, there is 50% of the, among the females, there is 50% that they will become carrier and 50% that they will become normal. So there is no case of haemophilic female. So here in this case, no haemophilic female. In the previous case we have written no normal female, and in this case there is no haemophilic female because male X chromosome is normal. Now next gamete. This one crossed with the other gamete here. So autosome pair, autosome and autosome pair, Y chromosome and XX chromosome. So I am writing here XHY. Since the chromosomes are X and Y, the progeny is a male. Since there is XH here, so this male progeny is affected or the male progeny is haemophilic. Now what about the other case? Here autosome pair again, X and Y. So again male progeny, but this male progeny is going to be normal because there is no case of XH. So when there is the case of males, there is 50% of chance of getting haemophilic and 50% of chance being normal. So this kind of disease, that is haemophilia, sex-linked recessive disorder, mostly it is passed on from carrier female to some of the sons. Sons means the male child. Okay, so this is its, male child here. This is going to be normal. So in this case you can say haemophilia, the passage into its progeny is from carrier female to some of the male individuals, 50% of chance. But if it is female, 50% can be normal, another 50 can be again carrier. Carrier means it will not get the disease actually, but it is carrying the defective chromosome, X chromosome. So this is it. So first case we have learned, one is affected, that is male is affected and female is carrier. Second case we have learned, male is unaffected and female is carrier. Now third case, if both males and females, both of them are affected, then what will happen? If both of them are affected, such case actually doesn't exist because a haemophilic female cannot give birth to young ones. This is the later part of its life cycle. When the female attains puberty and all, it will be very difficult to overcome. Okay. Now, you can just work out the cross, but I am just giving you as an assignment. Just do it, and whatever you are getting, please let me know the results of the crosses. So what is the question? The female is affected, male is also affected. What will be the probability of the progeny of getting affected? Whether they will be carriers, affected, normal, what that is. Just try to find out using this crosses. But to get a deeper understanding of sex-linked recessive disorders or genetic disorders, to get a basic understanding actually, subscribe the channel. I'm telling you this now and again. This is only because otherwise you will not be able to follow the coming videos, because that is actually a building up of more and more of what genetic disorders are. So get the basic idea first. Subscribe the channel so that you get the notifications of the coming videos, and you also get a clarity of what we have completed, and we can sail smoothly. Thank you for now.